I'm your host, Jahze Yvette, and this is Too Many Opinions. I'm sitting with my guests, Simmons and PUP, and they're some goddamn good fathers.
Do you agree like Nick Cannon and his spreading of his seeds?
100%. I agree with him 1,000%.
Oh, no.
That's how life is supposed to be.
No.
Why not?
Because
he's rich.
What about the kids though?
What about them?
Because this is what I mean about men, right? You guys think that just having kids and giving money is enough. But what about the time? No.
He's there for every one of them. I got 9. And I'm there for every one of mine.
So every single time you're at every single recital.
To raise my kids.
No, but this is...
Hold on.
Go
to
on.
Be responsible.
Yeah.
To be understanding. To protect their mother. To give hand with their father and assist with family planning. And to be responsible adults.
Okay, but what about
quality time? My job ain't to be doing all that extra stuff that all these holidays and recitals and all that.
Okay, so y'all heard the clip from Akon. What do you think father's responsibility to his children is? Is it being there for everything or just solely providing?
You want to go?
She looked right at you.
I'm looking at both of y'all. Let me know, JoJo. Tell me what you think, because I know you're married and you have kids, but I'm pretty sure you're probably the sole provider, but are you there as well? Like, what does that look like for you?
I mean, I think a father's responsibility is to not only be there financially, but to be there emotionally as well, because there's no amount of money in the world that could fix any emotional trauma that your child may have growing up without, the other person in the home at all times. I come from, my parents were divorced, so I understand not having both parents in the house at one time, but I also understand me being married now, how important it is to have mom and dad in the home at one time, because to keep it real with you, when I heard him say things about the recital and all that, yeah, like I hear him, but do you understand how a child feels when they see that certain parent in the crowd when, they're doing something, and how the support they feel? Because you're the person that made this child.
Correct.
And all they really want to do is make you happy and make you proud. And for them to look and see that you're not at these events, I understand that things happen in life, and sometimes you can't make every event. I'm like you said, I'm basically a sole provider. My wife does make money, but I do handle all of the bills. So I get that some days you have to go get that money. You got to make sure that a roof can stay over their head. But in the same sense, you got to also make sure that you find a balance, because no matter how much money you make, you have to make sure that you can't buy time back.
Correct.
That's the only thing that a lot of people don't understand, is you can buy all the gifts in the world, you can buy all the moments in the world, but you can't buy the actual time you're spending with these kids back.
So let me ask you this real quick. I mean, having a father that's in the limelight, just in general, you could tell how much he's getting pulled constantly. When you hear somebody like Akon and you know everything that's on his lap, do you see where he's coming from just because of the fame and the amount of work that's laid in his lap?
I can understand his point of view. Like you said, I was raised with a father that was very busy growing up, and, he was always on the road. But see, the thing with me is, and I think that's the way I am now, is because my father made sure that he found the time to make the time, whether it was family vacations or just keeping
regardless
of
how famous
he was. What it was.
Right.
So I understand what he's saying, but you got to also understand that Akon is African, and in their culture, they're known to have many wives and just have a lot of kids. So that's why I would never want to fault his opinion. But we also come from here. So our ideology is exactly how I'm speaking on it, but his ideology is something totally different.
Totally different. What about you? What do you think a responsibility for a father is?
I feel like being a sole provider is definitely important, but at the same time, being an example for your children is equally or more important than that. Like,
correct.
You're the person, like he said, that made this child, and they're gonna take after you. They have to be there to see you act as a person, to see how a person should act. They can't do it if they don't see you.
Correct.
How you act in certain situations, how you handle things, your temperament, everything.
All of that. And then I think about it as like this as well. I mean, my father died when I was young. And so me not having that father, my mother played both that father and mother role to me. And I think like it actually did traumatize me as I got older. I did not understand men at all. I was like, how can I figure out this man? So I think a father's role is super, super important. But I want to go to one of my opinionators. She felt like time is everything. Her name is Bianca Shaw Music. She wrote, if he has the time, buku question marks after that. The time with them should be a priority, not a last option after money. That's why so many kids are messed up. These time type of men make me sick. You can't make sure they're raised right if you don't spend time with them. He just blew every mother in the universe. Bianca, just can you expand on that and why you think that every mother in the universe was blown by that clip by Akon?
Hey, so it was just really touching on the things you all said. A lot of men they have these children and then they don't understand what the full meaning of that responsibility is. Details. What is your definition of being there for them? So if your definition of being there for them is, oh, I went to a recital a year ago, or oh, I spent time with them on Christmas or birthdays, what about the rest of the 363 days of the year? And that's something that all mothers, can relate to. We do most of the work, and then they feel like they come in whenever they want to, and that suffices for the time that they spend with their children is just wrong. Somebody's going to feel neglected.
Right. I also want to go to Slave by Matthews. He hit JoJo's point. He said, and this is how a lot of Africans think, rich men in general. I just need you to expand on that. Why do you think rich men just feel this way?
Right. I don't think it's necessarily just the cultural thing. I think it's rich men in general, universally around the world, all men think alike. It gave real make it enough energy. And I didn't like that. I feel like it's more to being a parent than just being rich and providing. I think if anything, it's harder and you have to be even more hands-on with those privileged kids because then they be a little bit more out of touch from just the Black experience, just culture, period, when you grow up in them subdivisions and you're not at the park with the baby kids, at the rec in the summer. So I feel like it's even more important when you're rich and wealthy to be hands-on and present with your children. I'm a product of a very active father. Both my parents, I grew up in the house with both my parents, and I think it's so important to have a father's love. You can have all the money in the world, but a father's love will really get you through life, and you won't be so dumb or even just so naive to certain situations because you just been schooled the right way, the proper way. That's my personal opinion.
Love it. Let's get back to this real quick. Do y'all think that is a rich man thing? Because I'm not going to lie. When you have a lot of money, you think you have a lot of power and you think you could do whatever the fuck you want to do.
There's some broke niggas that ain't good dads
But
either. There's guys with one kid that still may be less of a dad than Akon with 9 kids.
That's true.
keep it real, Drew, it's not a rich man thing. It's a selfish man thing. That's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? Like it's comes down to what type of person you are. Really, everybody is built different, and I don't like the ideology that all men think alike because we don't all think alike. We may all have similarities in the way that we attack certain things, but we don't all think alike.
Yeah.
All of us have been through our own trials and tribulations and journeys that have made us the men who we are today.
Correct.
So you can't always say a rich man is gonna be cheap because I know a rich man that loves his family and doesn't want to go out and go have 30 million kids by 30 different women.
Correct.
Because his morals are different than maybe, let's say, somebody else's morals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't truly believe that all men think that way, and I don't think it's a rich man thing. I think it's just who the person is. You know what I'm saying?
And Pup, you just hit it on a dime too. Broke men are horrible fathers every day.
Right.
So let me ask you this: as far as fatherhood goes, if you're not with the mother, and I'm not sure if you're with the mother of your child or not, but how does that look for your child and raising your child?
Ask the question again.
If you're not with the mother of your child, correct?
Right.
How does that appear to your child? Like, how do you handle that? Like, not being in a household with your child, but still giving your child enough time and them knowing you're there.
All right, so for me, it's a little tricky because I know my view is a little different from normal people. Like,
Correct.
I feel like your child should see your parents together, regardless if y'all work out or not. Y'all should show unity and show them how a man and woman. It's y'all responsibility to show them how a man and woman acts and shows love to each other and able to be in the same household together. I feel like that's very important. I feel like in today's age, like we date and then we move on and the kids start dating your next person just like you dating the next person and you go from one relationship to the next. And then,
and so you don't think that's healthy for a child at all?
No, in my personal opinion.
Even if you're not with the mother?
For myself, I can only speak for me. I'm not speaking to nobody else. For my situation, that's how I move. My kid will not know the difference. She will not know that me and her mother is not together.
So if you find a wife and she finds a husband, How does that work out?
You know I'm controversial. You know I'm controversial.
I just want to know, like, how does that work out if you find a love of your life?
Ain't no guy allowed around my kid.
At all, regardless if that's her husband or not.
I'm too much of a father for that. Nobody's filling that void. I'm not leaving no void, and nobody's here to take part of my responsibility.
But if your child knows you, isn't that just like a bonus parent? Isn't that just an additional, like, positive influence in your child's life if another man?
Possibly it could be a negative one.
That's true.
It's dating. Like, you dating this person. Like, my kid is not dating them. Like, she could date whoever she wants, but my child is not dating nobody.
Regardless if that's her husband or they
Regardless.
Regardless. And for you too as well. If you get married, you have a wife.
She's not allowed. She's not allowed to be around my child in an intimate setting.
But what's an intimate setting? So, like, if I want to bring your daughter, me and you married. Now, mind you, I'm your wife. If me and you married, I want to bring your child to Walmart, to Children's Museum, and we go get some ice cream. Is that intimate to you?
Anything that resembles what a mother would be doing is intimate to me. Like an intimate setting, us three or y'all two. That would be considered intimate setting for me. I wouldn't really be jacking that. Not personally that I feel like it's wrong. Just for the child, you know what I mean? Me personally, I'm fine with it. But just for the child, I don't want her to look to another woman for an influential figure or a motherly figure. Nothing that she has a mom. You know what I'm saying? We dating. You're not dating my kid type of thing. Like,
I love it. Well, we have another clip that I want to show you guys based off of what you're saying. Kel's daughter went on Instagram recently. I think she's a little bit older now. And she gave her perspective because the mother and the father wasn't together. She got a really bad energy from her father for the last 10 years. We're going to play this clip and I'm going to let you see what she says.
My dad wasn't there for me for 10 years. So one, he wasn't there for 10 years in my life until I was... he didn't come back in my life until I was 15, and he was out of my life when I was the age of 5. So my dad wasn't financially or emotionally there for me for all of that time. If I was a parent who was never in my child's life, I would try to make up for the moments that I wasn't.
And now we're going to listen to Kels himself and his opinion about what's going on. And mind you, this video was taped 9 years ago.
Currently going to court fighting to see my children, fighting for visitation rights. And this has literally been going on for 7 years now. And it's been a spiritual battle for 7 years. And some men might be like, look, I'm throwing in the towel. I can't deal with this anymore, or giving up, or lost their faith in God. But I remain faithful. And I know God will reunite me with my children. And I have a joy in my heart because of that. And I have that peace because I'm giving it all to Christ.
So let's get back to what you said. Mother, father, not in the household. Clearly the mother's influence, and I'm not speaking on yours because clearly you and the mother of your child have a great relationship.
right.
But how important is it for the mother to speak highly of fatherhood, regardless if there are challenges between the two of them?
I mean, on the mother's end, to speak highly of the father, he has to do something to speak highly of also. Like, he can't just get praised for doing nothing. But, like, as far as their situation is concerned, like, you don't know what's exactly happening between him and the mom. Like, he could have tried everything. It could be the mom's fault for all we know. Everybody's so quick to take, men versus women, us mothers are constantly this and fathers constantly this. You don't know what's going on in their actual situation, the conditions that they in, the troubles that they face. And he could have tried to be the best dad he could possibly be. But the mother may have just been doing things that didn't allow that, or she may have been scorned by other things he did between them personally. And then
and I go back to me too, like when I was young, like my father, I mean, as you get older, you learn so much about your parents you don't know when you're young, right? But as a kid, my mother always praised my father. And as I got older, I'm like, he did all of this shit to you and you still made him seem like he was a king? Why?
Honorable.
You know what I mean? But I think, like, I go back to what you said, a child's impression is everything. And it could really mess a child's childhood up if they know too much too soon. Do you think it's a mother's influence, or do you think the father's not trying hard enough?
I mean, from what it seems, and from his video from years ago, it seems like he was trying and trying and trying, and it seems like it was maybe possibly something going on with the mother's influence, or maybe the mother was, upset with him at something.
Mhm.
And sometimes women take it out on you by trying to use your kids as a pawn. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it shouldn't never be done like that. I can't speak on it much because I don't know
Right.
what they've been through and what they're going through. But from what I see, and me being a father and seeing that video, it looked like he was genuine about
Yeah, feels
being
genuine.
reconnected with his children. And for it to get this far, it seems like his daughter may not know all of the truth either.
Right.
So
Right. Do you think it's harder for fathers to like really fight for their kids compared to women? Like,
yes.
yes.
Yeah, they kind of get it. Like naturally have that role as the best
The
parent.
sole
Yeah,
provider,
the guy has to
energy,
prove that
have to
he's a
prove,
parent.
yeah.
Yeah, mothers are always just given that like
That role.
yeah,
Well, there's a funny
that
saying
title.
that they say when a mother messes up, they say it's okay. But when a dad messes up, he gets scorned for it.
It's always a double standard in
Wow.
everything.
You know
Wow.
what I'm saying? Like even the smallest of things, we can make the bottle wrong, and it's like, why would you?
You did this.
And the woman's like, oh, it's okay. It's your first time. You're a
Right.
first time mother. I think a lot of people got to understand is that, I don't know. I don't want to get too deep about it, but I just feel like dads are important to be in the household.
Period.
You know what I mean? And like he said, speaking highly of the other person that made this child, whether you're together or not, is important.
Yeah.
Because the picture you paint
It's gonna
to
stick.
your kids is gonna stick forever. And
Ever.
that's gonna affect how you look at that parent forever.
And how you handle relationships going
And
forward.
how you handle your relationship.
Going
Exactly.
forward.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why it's also the way that you guys operate in front of your children is important too. A lot of people can say, well, oh, I was raised with two parents, but how was the household?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Very
Like,
important.
and I like how he kind of said it, like they're not together, but they make sure that they have respect for each other and that they in front of their child,
They
it's
see
all
love.
love.
All love.
It's then, my dad always says, my children are always so happy because I say because they're born out of love.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, me and my wife, we argue. We try not to argue in front of the children because that's what they're gonna see and that's what they're gonna carry on into their relationships in the future. And I don't want my daughter ever being yelled at by a man and her yelling back and forth for the man. I don't want that for her.
Yeah.
So just as well as just as important as having a father in the house, as well also having the respect in the house too,
And an example.
between both
Yeah.
parties.
So I want to go to my opinionator, Playboy88. He said, my son is 3 and his mother has done everything in her power to keep him away from me. I'm sure Kel ain't lying. This kind of stuff happens way too often to us dads. We need better rights to our children. I hope they get through this because all kids deserve a loving and able and willing father. Can you speak to me about that, Playboy? Like, what are you actually going through? I mean, you don't have to go in detail, but just the struggle of how hard it is for fathers to actually have their kids in their presence.
Well, yeah, it's like I don't think a lot of people understand with having a spiteful baby mother, it can be a financial burden on a lot of fathers on even trying to begin the process of getting rights to your child because for me to even start the process, I would have to sign myself up for child support. And after signing myself up for child support, I would have to come up with at least minimum $2,500 for a lawyer
Wow.
to begin the process of getting parental rights. And that's if I'm not on his birth certificate, which was done out of spite. Like I wasn't able to get my name on the birth certificate.
Wow. Wow.
With her
Wow.
keeping him away from me. So really, I don't think a lot of people understand like the rights that a father don't have. If I'm behind on child support, I could possibly go to jail. And that could be all off of me just losing my job or getting behind on no rent because these times are hard these days. So I feel like
Wow.
it's like the system is kind of not built for fathers to win, and it's kind of even harder when you have a spiteful baby mother.
First of all, sorry about that, Playboy. I do pray the best for you and that you get a chance to get your child back in your life. But to get back to you guys, just hearing what he had to say, what are y'all thoughts about that?
Everything is always different. A lot of people go through different shit, like I said, but like I hear this a lot. Like it seems that the fathers that sometimes want to be actual fathers, the women are spiteful to keep the kid from them.
Yeah.
Now, if he was the deadbeat, she'd be trying to
Throw the kid in his lap.
trying to track him down to make him be a dad. Sometimes they just so scorned that they just want to be spiteful to hurt you, and they don't realize how much they're actually affecting the child more than him.
More than him. What about you? Just hearing the court system, just the process of everything.
I know friends that go through this. I know friends that have went through this. I know friends that still fight for their children. I know friends that have gained access. And, you know, it's crazy that they have to gain access to your children through a certain way. Because a lot of people don't understand, even when they're born, what he said about the birth certificate is true. A father doesn't have to be present for the birth certificate to kind of be signed. It just has to be a mother's name. She doesn't even have to put your last name on that child if she doesn't want to. So the system is not really built for fathers when you're dealing with, like they said, a spiteful, partner. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I tell people it's important who you have a child with. You know what I'm saying?
I was just going to ask that question, like how important is it to really pick the right person to have a child with? Clearly, you seem like you picked the right person.
I mean,
not saying in that sense, but just as
the
far as your mother.
ideal person is somebody you're gonna stay with forever, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I guess in a sense, it's ideal. Just you know what I mean, how we're able to still coexist, and cooperate.
So let me just ask you this, Jojo. What made you know that your wife was like the one, as far as like not just a great wife, but she was going to be a great mother as well?
You never know that until the child is there. You always think you're gonna be like, oh, she's gonna be such a great mom. She's good with kids. You never know that. And I found that out once, my first child was born. We have two, but she's makes me a better father by her being a great mother because she makes sure that I'm on point. But it's like everything she does is for her kids.
Yeah.
And that's what showed me. It's like, all right, like a lot of people say, oh, don't give a woman that's gonna spend money and buy all the bags. A woman is gonna spend money regardless. But you gotta understand what they're spending it on. My wife will go spend a bag in Target before she'll spend a bag in Louis because she's a good mom. Those are the type of things that I'd be like, well, what'd you get? Well, they needed this and they needed that and they needed this and they needed that. And I want to put them in Spanish class and I want to put them there. And it's like, oh, okay. I know right now, if me and you were to not work out, which I don't think will ever happen, but if we were to not work out, I know my kids have an amazing mother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And she'll never, like goes back to what he said, would never bash me because I know I'm an amazing father. She knows I'm an amazing father. And we're amazing partners together. You know what I'm saying? But that's how I found out that she was a good mother, was actually having the child and seeing like, all right, cool. Like she's gonna do what she got to do for these kids. Even if I was a deadbeat, which I'm not, I can tell in the way my wife moves is like, she's about this and she's about this mother thing. And she changed who she was. A lot of people don't understand that good moms and good dads, not that they change who they are, but they sacrifice to be good parents. You know what I'm saying? And they stop going outside as much and they make sure that they focus on what's in the home and everything that's going on in their motherly world.
Correct.
Like, and I always tell my wife, I say, you gotta get out sometimes because you gotta make sure that you're still you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this. As far as fatherhood goes, do you think that men don't get the praise for being good fathers like mothers do? As far as, mothers like, oh my God, she's a great mom.
You gotta fight for it.
You gotta
constantly prove it and go above and beyond to show that you're a good dad. That's never given.
Never given.
You gotta fight for it, for real.
Yeah.
I'm at this situation where it's like you don't get praised for something you're supposed to do.
That's a fact.
But these deadbeat, non-existent fathers make it hard for us not to want the praise. Because we see all these other guys out here that are making us look bad and they pull us all together and say, well, this is how a black father is. And that's not necessarily true. So
and that's why I did
you
this
don't
segment.
get praised for what you're supposed to do,
right?
But it feels good as a father to get praised because there's so many ones out here that are not doing what you are doing for your child.
Yeah.
You want to go against that stereotype. You really want to combat that and just, show like, nah, we could really be good dads.
But is it our responsibility, not only as a community or as black men or as a black woman, to hold those type of men accountable? Like, do you guys have friends that aren't good dads? Do y'all tell them about themselves?
I don't.
Yeah.
And if I did, they not in my circle.
Yeah,
Wow.
I won't
that's a
allow
fact.
it because
Wow.
you have to be
That's
a
a
good
fact.
dad to be around me.
Mm.
Because
fact.
my morals must uphold whatever your morals are for us to be actually
Even friends.
in the same
Friends, yeah,
vicinity.
exactly.
Because I can't be in your vicinity if I don't care if you got every Amiri jean and every Dior sneaker and every Rolex watch and you looking cool and you can keep up with me and you got the next cars. If you are not okay with your children, I'm not
Huge.
gonna allow that.
Huge.
You know what I'm saying?
Huge.
Because to me, that's the standard of a man. That's what makes a man, bro, is being a father. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go out in the world and you're gonna go produce a child, you're gonna go actually take care of that child.
Yes.
You're gonna be there for that child. Stop being a father if you don't want to be a father. A lot of people are dads, but a lot of people ain't
Dads.
fathers.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Anybody could be a dad. Anybody
Anyone.
could put in somebody and produce a child and say, I'm a dad on Father's Day. But a father is somebody that's there. A father is somebody that they can speak to. It's like, goes back to what he says. The love or what the guy said, the love of I think it was played by Matt. The love of a father is so much important in life, but not only the love, the wisdom from a father. You know what I'm saying? Because men are very intelligent. You know what I'm saying? And we have a
And
whole
y'all
lot
lack
of wisdom.
emotion enough so that you could get something across. Women have so many emotions, we might mix it up.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's why there's a balance in the household.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, so let me know, guys, like, how do you view the mothers of your children? Like, how do you view the mothers of your kids?
All right, so my baby mom, like, she definitely keeps my child as the top priority, and I respect her for that. I really appreciate her for that, and she always allows me to be as a part of my child's life as I possibly can. Like, I keep my child as my top priority as well, but you know what I mean? As a man, I gotta really go out there and earn and do things and
Yeah.
create a legacy and things that I could pass on to my children.
Yeah.
But she always allows me to be there as much as possible, and she makes it as easy as possible. And I want to tell her I thank her for that.
Jojo?
I think my wife is the dopest. Not only is she a great mother, she's a great woman because she's pushed me to be a better person, a better man, a better father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, a lot of people have this stigma of men don't do much when it comes to taking care of their child at home, like, change the diapers or do whatever. And she made sure that I felt everything she felt as a, parent, waking up in the middle of the night, making the bottle, changing the diapers. So I'm so well equipped more because of her.
Yeah.
So not only is she a good mother, she's the rock of the family. She makes sure that I understand how important it is to be there, and to not only be there but to be present and to be doing things while I'm there.
And Jojo, I want to ask you one more question. How important is marriage in 2023?
Marriage is important, but it all depends on how you look at what marriage means to you.
Okay.
A lot of people get married for the look of it.
Yeah.
Really get married because you believe this is the person you're going to be with for the rest of your life. And I know that things don't always work out, but I say what's more important in this generation is stop giving up so easily and quickly on your partner.
Yeah.
If this is really your person, stop giving up on your person.
Yeah, man.
That's your person. Like,
nothing else out there. Trust me.
don't give up. It's really nothing. Like, from what my single friends tell me, ain't shit out here. So stop giving up on the person that you believe is really tailor-made for you. And I feel like I found that person for me.
I love that. Love that, guys. Being a father is about more than just providing financially for your children. It's about being present and involved in their lives in a way that they will remember for the rest of their lives. It's about being there for them every day and fighting for them, even when they may not fully understand how much you love them. Being a father is about putting your children first above all else. It's important for fathers to know that they are doing a great job, even when they may not feel like they are. The community also has a role to play in holding fathers accountable when they make mistakes. As someone who lost a father at a young age, I understand the importance of having a strong and present father figure in a child's life. I also recognize the important role that the mothers play in creating a positive image of fatherhood, even in the face of challenges. We need more men to step up and be the kind of fathers that their children need. We just need more men to be goddamn good fathers. All right, I want to thank my opinionators, and I want to thank my guests, JoJo Simmons and Pop. Please give me your Instagrams where they can find you guys.
At JoJo_Simmons on Instagram.
Wolfgang, 2 G's at the end of Wolfgang, PUP.
Yes. Each and every one of you has an opinion, and it matters, or maybe it doesn't. I pray regardless that this conversation opens you up to more than just your opinion. I'm Jahze Yvette, and I'll see you next time on Too Many Opinions.